nonprofits. Uh, oh, sorry, I just heard the recording, so I got a little thrown off. Um, but yeah, so we partner with nonprofits and we collect all the information that somebody would need to know in order to get involved with their organization. And then we put it on our website completely free of charge to the nonprofit. The reason we collect all the details is because, which again, I'm sure maybe some folks have had this experience. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming or daunting when you want to go and volunteer with an organization, but you're not quite sure what the requirements are or if there are any prerequisites, if there's an application, if there's a background check, where to meet up with people, when on the day of the event. So we get all that information for you. So you know exactly where to meet when you get there. You know where to park when you get there. You know what is required of you, whether they're looking for just a one-off volunteer or if they're looking for, somebody that can be there on a longer term commitment. We want to spell that out so that way, if a volunteer comes through and stumbles upon an organization that they really resonate with and they want to get involved, they have all the information that they need in order to do that. So it's really cool. And we, as I said, we partner with a lot of different nonprofits, not only in the Denver area, but also across the country. Our volunteer opportunities look a little bit different over in other cities that are a little bit further away. But Denver being our home base, we have a wide variety. So whether it's cooking and serving meals to kids at Denver Children's Home, volunteering with the organization We Don't Waste at their mobile market, volunteering with gardens. There's an organization called Grow Local that they do a lot of gardening work, especially in the spring and summer and early fall months. So just a nice variety. So folks find something that they're really passionate about and that they resonate with. Um, Another way we make our volunteering ridiculously easy is with our kind kits. So our kind kits are a little bit unique. They are essentially a volunteer opportunity in a box. So we give the volunteer the tools to make a meaningful care package for the intended demographic. We have about 40 different cause areas that we have created. Or kits that we've created for these cause areas. And there's DIY components inside of the kits. So decorating or writing a note to somebody, anything like that. And then also there's essential items for the recipient. So, for example, we have a Toys for Shelter Animals kit where you're making a dog and a cat toy, which is really fun. You're decorating a bandana for a dog that, maybe zazz it up a little bit to help the dog get adopted, whatever it might be. But then there's also a leash, a collar, so that when that dog maybe finds its forever home, the shelter that the kit goes to can pass that along to its new owner, whatever it may be. But it's a really cool opportunity because if maybe volunteering in person with an organization is not the right fit for you, you can still get involved. There are still ways to do that. And that's kind of where Kind Kits comes in. So once those kits are completed, you get to decide where those kits go. If you have a local organization that you have worked with in the past or that you really love, go ahead and drop it off there. Let them use it. If you have we have another type of kit, our dignity kit for folks that are experiencing homelessness. Complete the kit, leave it in your car. And if you see a member of your community that might be struggling with homelessness, pass it off to them. It has essential items, again, those DIY items. It just shows the person or the organization that you care, that you're taking that time and showing that care and love and wanting to give back to your local community. So it's a cool and unique program our kind gets. Um, and then our last program that we have is our Kind Schools program, which is really cool in that we're able to give elementary and middle schools and high schools free teen and or youth mental health care kits. So it's designed to keep these kits within the school system so that peers can help each other out. Mental health and mental wellness is not something that's really talked about. So we're really trying to end that stigma and get kids and young adults really talking about it and talking about how they're feeling or what maybe is affecting them. And then just working with their peers and utilizing the resources that they have around them as well. So a really cool opportunity. And our Kind Schools program is all across the country. We send kits to cities all over, which is really, really cool. So that's a little bit about Project Helping, who we are, what we do, how you can get involved if you want to give back your time. A little bit about me. As I said, I just moved to Burlington, Vermont, not too long ago. Um, It is very new for me and something I've been with Project Helping now for 2.5 years. So, the idea of do good, feel good is definitely ingrained in my brain. But from firsthand experience, I know that it helps me. I was volunteering at a shelter in Denver when I lived there. And just today, actually, I was chatting with my partner and she was like, hey, you know what? I know we've been busy a lot, but we need to get out and volunteer. Like when we come back from our most recent trip, we need to do that because we always feel better when we do it. And so we made a pact and we have a trip next week, but we said when we come back, we're going to do our research and we're going to find a local organization to help out at because it brings us both joy. And again, we feel better. And my partner said it herself. She said, in Denver, when I was having a rough day, you'd tell me to go to the shelter and I would feel better. And it's small things like that. You know, volunteering when I was in high school was always something that was more of a requirement, right? It was like you need X amount of hours in order to do this, this, or this. But now I've kind of formed a relationship with it where it doesn't feel like it's something I have to do. It's something that I want to do. So I find causes that I'm passionate about that I don't work in, right? It's cool with my position that we get to work with a lot of different organizations that have a lot of different specialties, but we don't necessarily have those boots on the ground interactions with folks. And that's what I really love. And so I find organizations that, speak to causes that I'm passionate about and just try to get involved in whatever way that I can, whether it's showing up to take a dog for a 20-minute walk or give it a little belly rub, or it's calling folks, getting them information that is necessary to them, or doing whatever it might be, bringing somebody to a doctor's appointment that maybe doesn't have access to a car. Whatever you're able to do, whatever I'm able to do, is what I try to do because I like helping people. And I feel it brings me joy to be able to help others that maybe don't have the resources to get themselves. So um, that is just a little bit about me and my relationship with volunteering and kind of how it's evolved a little bit. And so yeah, I mean, does anyone have any questions or anything that I can maybe answer? Or anyone have any stories that they want to share about volunteering in ways that, you felt really good after giving back?
Yeah, and if folks have questions, you can either use the raise hand function if you want to speak and answer or ask a question that way, or you can use the chat function and we can get those answered. And it looks like Leslie, we've got a question from Leslie, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the talk function, Leslie. So you should be able to go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
I wanted to know more about the kind kits that you were talking about, and because I really can't go out any place, but maybe I could make some of those things. So I'd like to know more about how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our kind kits, they can be ordered on our website, which I'm happy to share a link with Walker after the fact if you want to pass it along to folks, or I can put it in the chat, whatever route. But as I said, we have about 40 different cause areas, and we have three different size kits. Um, our classic kits are $30 per kit. Our plus kits are 45 and our max kits are 65. The reason that these cost money is because we are putting these kits together for the volunteer. So these are for you. All of the items that you need are right there in the kit. So you get to be in either the comfort of your own home, or if you're going to a family member's house and you want to do it with a loved one, you have everything you need in that purple box for you. And you complete the kits right there, and then you get to pick where it gets donated to. If you don't have an organization, you can always send them back to us at Project Helping. And we do have a large list of nonprofit partners that we work with because we get kits sent back to us all the time. And we send them out to that nonprofit that has said that they have a need for these kits. So it's very easy to hop on our website and go ahead and do that. So again, happy to either Walker, let me know what you think the best route is, but I'm happy to put something in the chat, or happy to have something sent over after the fact. Leslie, did that
Well,
kind of answer? Yeah.
Well, yeah, except that I don't really have those kind of discretionary funds, but I do have a lot of supplies because I'm an old artist. So if that's the only way to do those kits, then oh well, but yeah, I think it's good for people to know about that.
Yeah, we do also have other programs, I will say, where we are able to cover the cost of kind kits. So if it is ever something that you're interested in, we want to make volunteering as accessible as we can. And so that's where our fundraising comes in. We raise money and the sales of our kits, they go back into helping the community and helping create volunteer opportunities for our community members that maybe don't have the funds to go and do it themselves. So that is also an option. And yeah, it's a unique thing that we're able to do when we partner with corporate clients. Just another way to help us give back to our community members that want to get involved.
Yeah, I really appreciate that question, Leslie. And the Kind Kits are a great program. I actually forgot to mention at the beginning of this program, A Little Help is partnering with Project Helping to provide some opportunities for group service that we have for folks to do these kind kits. And Leslie, thank you so much for kind of bringing that up, asking a little bit more about logistics. And we will go ahead and send a link out afterwards, Steph, and we can, provide whoever would be the best person to contact, and then the link for folks to go explore this a little bit more themselves, and we can send that out as a follow-up.
Wonderful.
We've got one more question from Terry. Great to see you on here, Terry. I'll go ahead and allow you to talk.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I've been volunteering for a long time. And I've actually put together a project myself called Project Joy, where I'm trying to donate flowers from my garden, making bouquets from the flowers and then getting them to people to bring them some joy. So I'm
Oh,
looking
that's
to actually
awesome.
partner with others to try and get them to the right people. I mean, I'm working with a little help, of course, but I mean, I've got a lot of faces right now. So
Yeah.
I don't know. And you said you were partnered with other organizations as well. So I would love to be able to connect with you or anybody else to try to even put together a group of people to help me to get them to the right people. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Very cool and just like a great way of you using the resources that you have and getting out there and bringing joy with flowers to people. Yeah, I mean, we partner with tons of nonprofits, so I would love to chat with you and get you connected with some really great organizations that we work with. Um, and yeah, I'm not quite sure the best way to go about sharing any contact information or anything, but would love to connect. At the very least, you can fill out. If you go to our website, we have a lot of
yeah,
our contact information on there,
okay.
and just say that you heard about it from this talk with a little help, and I'll be on the lookout, and I can happily reach out and get you connected with the right people.
Yeah, that would be great. And then the other lady that just spoke, I know she said she had like a bunch of art supplies. I know, maybe put together some kind of project, to utilize that. I mean, I have tons of art supplies too. I mean, I'm always looking for ways to put together projects to help the community. So you sound like you guys you've got a great organization then.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really lucky. Our CEO is somebody that is incredibly passionate about mental health and wellness and giving back to the local community. Our whole organization started because he was going on a date with his now wife, and he was in a pretty low period of time in his life. And he and his now wife, they went and volunteered somewhere. That was their first date.
Yeah,
And that's sort of how this whole organization started, is because he saw the effect that it had on him and his wife, and also saw some of the challenges that come in with volunteering, and just wanted to really make it as accessible for folks as he could. And so, 15 years later, here we are with Project Helping, and really just trying to do that all, wherever we can. So it's
I love
pretty
that.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the more light we can bring into this world, the better, especially right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I mean,
Yes.
especially. after COVID.
Yeah.
More people than ever are feeling more isolated or struggling
Yes.
with their mental health and wellness, and also more people than ever need help. Right. So you put those two things together of people that have the means to go ahead and help others to do that might be struggling. And then
Yes.
it's that first full circle moment. Excuse me.
Yes.
So it's pretty amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much for the good question about that, Terry. And we really appreciate, we want to give a special shout out to Terry for hopping on the call, but also for all of the amazing work she does with Project Joy. This is, I think, the third year running that we've done it with you, Terry. And we always get letters or emails back. And this is just one example of how you can really spread some joy by doing something kind of simple, which is just giving somebody a bouquet of flowers. But that little bit of effort and time that Terry puts in on the front end means the world to our members. So really appreciate you, Terry. And I think that wraps up, as far as I can see, the questions that we have for Steph's presentation. So Steph, thank you so much. I will go ahead and pass it on to Catherine, who is our volunteer coordinator at A Little Help. And she's going to talk a little bit, of course, about A Little Help, but then also her personal connection to volunteering as well. So Catherine, you can go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing everything. We kind of swapped places. I have been in Colorado for 3 years now, but I'm from Massachusetts. So we swapped a
Nice.
little bit. But yes, very, very good to meet everyone and chat about volunteering. Personally, for myself, what brought me into kind of the older adult sector is that I actually lived with my grandparents for 15 years, and we never had enough help. So, when I heard of A Little Help and what we do for older adults in the community, honestly, I cried the first time I heard of it because that is so needed in our communities. And so I'm going to share my screen and chat a little bit about alternative ways to work with a little help. Okay, bye. I'm not the best tech person, so we're just going to keep it here because that's all I got. But some alternative ways to work with a little help in our volunteering. Of course, we are that neighborly next door help, offering older adults that sense of independence and companionship. And as you can see on this first bullet, that does start with friendly visits, outings, and calls with folks. And that you can get on our regular portal through our volunteer opportunities. However, it is not always on the portal as an option, as there is kind of a stigma with folks asking for those friendly visits, outings, and calls. I think often folks feel that they need to call in with a task, something for the folks to do, whereas that is not the case. We are here to provide whatever may be needed on that kind of friendly level, even just a visit or a cup of coffee with folks. And so an alternative way for folks to build those relationships is to kind of extend that offer and that companionship to come back an additional time or to meet up again in a month or two to check in and see how they're doing, or just provide them a phone call when they know that they haven't seen anyone in a few weeks, especially during the winter months. We see that often as people have harder time getting out of the home. So that's kind of an alternative way to volunteer with a little help. We also have our warm welcome program, which for folks that might not know, this is our program that onboards our older adults that are receiving services from A Little Help. So these volunteers do go through a special training with myself and a colleague to kind of just understand our expectations on onboarding and to learn more about A Little Help to answer any questions for these folks, because this warm welcome program is the first eyes and ears that they have with A Little Help. So these folks kind of get them on the right page, understanding what we do and how we can help them with those neighborly tasks, such as rides to the doctor's appointment or gathering your groceries or your prescriptions from the pharmacy, things like that. Our birthday program is again, an alternative way for volunteers to get involved. That is not through our portal. These folks get monthly assignments to help someone celebrate their birthday. So this is really a special program for us, as these volunteers get assigned to someone. So say Sally Joe's birthday is on August 2nd. That would be sent to our volunteer and they would go to Sally Joe's house, and we have really cute yard signs that say happy birthday with balloons to just kind of bring that extra joy. And these volunteers also provide a phone call often as well, to wish these folks a happy birthday, in case maybe they don't have other folks around to give them that call. Our canvassing is just another way to help spread the word of A Little Help and our mission. So this could be something where, as providing yard signs for folks that mentioned that on their application they would be interested in helping us spread our mission that way. This could be helping post flyers in your local coffee shops, gyms, senior centers, things like that. And it could also just be sharing that with your friends. An additional way to canvas is also becoming a Nextdoor ambassador. So Nextdoor is a platform that I'm sure some folks know about, but if you do not know, it is kind of a social platform that you can go on to hear of things in your community and in your area based on your location. So we do have some volunteers in certain areas that are Nextdoor ambassadors for us. Every now and then they go onto the Nextdoor app and mention what A Little Help does, and hopefully attract some other volunteers to join us. This could also be done in a way of, if you ever see a post of someone looking for volunteer opportunities, to inform them what A Little Help is. So that's a great option as well. And occasionally we do need office help, assistance with just some admin work, lots of mailings that go out. Sometimes that provides phone calls to our members, or just even simply just kind of keeping the paper stocked and stamping envelopes and things. So our office help is a great option for alternative situations, especially if you're kind of looking more that back end situation. And something that Walker is more involved in as our location coordinator is our Ditch the Desk program. This is also an alternative way to volunteer with A Little Help, as this works with groups of individuals that come together to volunteer, whether that is through yard work, or additional options as well, to kind of set a day aside and do some volunteering. And that could be with your office, with your day-to-day job. It could be with your kiddos and their school. Many different options there, but that is a great way to also get involved, not so much on the individual level, but with a group setting as well, which we love those opportunities because that does bring more intergenerational spaces often, especially with those kiddos that come with their schools, and just kind of gives that deeper meaning to that relationship that we are trying to build at A Little Help. So those are some additional options. If anyone has any questions on any of those additional options, please let me know. I'll use Terry and Lori as the example, but of course, as you saw with Terry speaking about her flower project, Project Joy, that is an alternative way that you can volunteer with A Little Help. Lori, with your art supplies, we do have some folks that sometimes make cards for people. And those could just have quotes that you love on them, or just some little statement that you'd like to pass along to someone to hopefully brighten their day. And we send out those cards to folks that might just need a little pick me up. So those are always additional options. We're always willing to work with volunteers on any additional back end, just any way to touch the community. We're open to. So
Yeah, and same thing here, folks. If you have a question, feel free to raise your hand or just throw it in the chat. Okay, we may have some people typing, but it does not look like we have any raised hands. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap this up. We really appreciate everyone for coming and taking some time out of their day to listen to these great presenters. And Steph, Catherine, thank you so much for being here and for sharing a little bit about a little help and what we do outside of our main volunteering and, of course, project helping and the amazing work that you're doing with Kind Kits. I did want to just share screen one more time to tell folks about our upcoming Little Talks in September and November. We've got a pretty heavy hitter in September with Alzheimer's and dementia. That's always a great talk. It is something that a lot of folks deal with, and we all know someone whose lives have been touched by Alzheimer's or dementia. And this will bring together a panel of experts from Kaiser and from other places to talk a little bit about the dementia kind of space and Alzheimer's specifically, but also resources, coping mechanisms, strengthening exercises, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be excited to see a lot of you folks there. And then we also have a little talk coming up in November, living wills and Medicare. So just some planning stuff that's really important and things that we will have a good team of experts to talk about as well. But that is our little talk today on volunteering. Again, we really appreciate everybody who is here to join us. And I wanted to leave you all with a quote from Winston Churchill, who had so many great ones, but he, when speaking about giving back to others and serving, he said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." So I would love for y'all to remember that as we go about our weeks and weekends and the next few months. But just remember to go out and give back in the community. So, and then Terry, I'm seeing you have another question or something like that. So you can close this off here.
Yeah, I'll just be real quick. I was gonna tell Catherine, I mean, I have always done care calls. I love doing those, but I never see them in the queue anymore. Like, do people just don't want that anymore, or is there other way to find them, or?
yeah, so great question. So I didn't dive too much into the stigma, but I do believe we are battling a bit of stigma with that and people calling in feeling that they need to ask for a friend or ask for someone to tell them hello.
Yeah.
So we are trying to bridge that gap, and I am seeing more pop on our portal for those options. As now through our conversations with folks, we do try to ask if they'd be interested in that, if they ever mention that they don't have family in town, or things like that. We're trying to bridge those gaps by offering that option, and trying to inform them more that that is something we offer. But I do think that oftentimes if you do a service for someone, you can kind of open that door a little bit for future friendly calls. But in general, if that's something that you are interested in, I could always give you a list of folks that
Yeah.
I believe, without having asked, they have mentioned or kind of
Yeah.
gave tidbits that they would be interested in. So I'd be happy to provide that if that was something.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to do that.
Okay, perfect. I will write that down so I can email that to you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then just to kind of put a pin in that as well, I think a lot of those ongoing friendly visit or friendly call requests are folks that have kind of established relationships already, like Catherine was saying. So we have, I would say, 5 or 6 people who are calling people either on a weekly or biweekly basis. So those things do pop up, but it takes a little bit to build trust and rapport. But without taking too much time out of everyone's day, thank you so much for joining. And we'll post a recording of this to YouTube. So if you want to go back and see any of the great things that our panelists talked about, you can. But we will send up a follow-up with all of that information and then some information about Project Helping as well. But thanks so much, y'all. We will see you at the next one.